best advice for Tuesday, March 22nd. We're doing a live Q&A here. Any FanDuel questions, DraftKings questions, Yahoo questions. We'll even take futures questions if you have them. So I'm T Boyle 24 _DFS, better known as Boyle. Here with me we have Jayhawk. Nick, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good, sir. I'm ready to get the slate right. I've struggled getting the studs right in the last couple of slates, but I'm here to break down the slate and crush it for Occupy tonight. So.
Yeah, we had to take last week off. Nick was on spring break. He was partying up down in Florida. So we're back this week with a Tuesday edition here. So I'm going to start it off just by saying, again, if you like the video, obviously if we have good content, which we do, subscribe. We have a Discord channel as well, which you can join to. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I make this joke every time, but Moose has killer TikTok dances on there, so you don't want to miss that out. So I'm going to go in starting just with an injury report for today. It's a small 4-game slate. Obviously, there's some injuries, which makes it pretty appetizing slate, if I'm being honest. So Steph Curry's out, obviously, with Golden State. Suggs is out again with the Magic. With Atlanta, we have John Collins is out. New York is interesting just because Julius Randle is out, which we'll talk about it later, but promotes a couple guys on the Knicks up into top plays. For Chicago, we have Zach Levine is currently questionable. For the Bucks, we have Chris Middleton out. And then for the late game with the Clippers and the Nuggets, we have everything's as expected with them. Obviously, Paul George, Kawhi is still out. Obviously, Murray and Porter are still out. So I'm going to go off and start it here, Nick, with if you want to discuss the whole Zach Levine situation, just kind of run it down as if we're doing an if Dan on the plug.
Yeah, for sure. So Zach Levine popped up as a questionable tag about 12 p.m. Eastern today, and he's been battling a little injury of some sort. I think they end up resting him tonight just because midday downgrades to questionable or doubtful are never good. At least I'm playing it as he's probably going to sit, so that's going to give immediate bumps to his fellow teammates, DeMar DeRozan, number 1. And then Nikola Vucevic, their center. So those two guys, they're probably going to run through those two guys. And then Alex Caruso, who's really cheap on both sides, should get more of a usage at shooting guard as well. So.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. So actually, I went ahead and plugged it into the Court IQ, just took out Levine, took out Lonzo, obviously, and just wanted to see what everyone's usage rate has been during the season and what their fantasy points per minute is. DeMar DeRozan leads the team. He has almost 900 minutes played in this situation. He almost has a 40% usage rate. It's 38.7, which is absolutely insane for 900 minutes. It averages 1.35 fantasy points per minute. So he's going to be our top stud tonight if Levine's out. I mean, obviously we love Giannis because Middleton's out, but DeRozan's kind of like 40% usage is insane. Going down the list here, we also see Vooch has almost 30% usage, which normally we would say 30% usage is great. But then you look at DeMar and see 40. So a lot of people are going to be off Vooch just because it's not as high up as DeRozan. We like them both tonight, as Nick was just saying. He also has 1.29 fantasy points per minute. And then looking at Caruso here, he has a 18% usage rate, which isn't obviously as high as the other two. But considering he's only 4K, I think, tonight on both sites, he's a pretty good play. Averages 0.8 fantasy points per minute. He'll probably see around 32 to 34 minutes as long as Levine's out. So we definitely like all three of those. Just wanted to back it up with stats a little bit. So in the chat here we have Nigel saying FanDuel messed up on their low money contests tonight. The prize pool too high, get in. Yeah, we were saying before this, obviously FanDuel is the lesser of FanDuel and DraftKings. So they do make some errors like that. So yeah, I mean, sometimes when they do that, you just got to hammer it in. I don't see anything else in the chat right now. Caruso revenge game, that is true. We do like Caruso a lot tonight. So we're going to go right into Nick. Who would be your favorite stud play tonight? We're just going to act as if we have a plug. Just kind of tell me down. Who's your top stud for tonight?
It's Giannis. He is the best fantasy point per minute guy in the NBA. Well, right beside Jokic. And you get him with no Middleton. So that's even more usage to go to Giannis. And then close to Giannis, I'd say the next best spend up would probably be not Middleton. Drew Holiday at 7-8 and 8-1. He's a really good play when you take out Middleton. I think Holiday has like a 28% usage rate. Giannis has like a close to 40% usage rate. So I love building around those two. And then from there, assuming Levine's out, we can go to DeRozan and Vooch and all those guys. So
I just want to play devil's advocate here. Common question: Holiday and Antetokounmpo. There's no negative correlation there, correct?
well,
You can play them both together and be happy with it.
I think since Middleton's out, I think there's more usage to be spread around there. So I think you're good playing them both.
Perfect. So we actually have a question in the chat here before I get into my top elite play, which is going to sound pretty similar to Nick's. We're going to go. Nigel said 5,000 or lower on FanDuel. Who's your favorite play at Ford? Small or power?
5,000
5,000 or less.
I love Obi Toppin at 3-7 tonight on both sides. I think he's like 3-2 on DK. We've seen him step into a role when you take out Randall. He's a really good point per minute guy, and it's not a terrible matchup, so he should have a pretty good matchup here, and he should crush his price tag on both sides. Initially, I liked Mitchell Robinson more, but as I looked into the stats, it's really Toppin who plays the majority of the minutes, and he's really cheap. And I think he's probably my favorite value. And I don't mind Caruso. I like Caruso as well. I didn't mention that at 4K. I think he's still in play if Levine is in, but he's almost a lock in my opinion if he's out. Because Donovan, his coach, came out and said he's starting from here on out. So, and guaranteed minutes there.
Yeah, that would be my answer here as well. I mean, no one really stands out to me. On that, looking around the model, as FanDuel value-wise listed, Will Barton right behind Obi, with Aaron Gordon right behind him. So obviously the model was built for more of a high-risk approach in NBA. So, I mean, if you're looking for someone at higher risk, I mean, the model is saying Barton, Gordon each have about, 17.2, 16.3 OF index respectively. Or, I'm sorry, FanDuel value respectively. So next question here, what's the usage of White and Io with Levine out? Caruso is nice, but the guard is kind of a cluster. I can hold that up right now. Nick, would you considering any of these two guards?
I think I'd probably prefer White out of White and AO, but I think Caruso's on a tier above both of them, just because we know he's gonna get the minutes and he can get there with stalks, steals, and blocks. So I think he has he has a better floor. Those other guys are more like shooting reliant. Like Kobe White's got to get there by hitting 6 or 7 threes and shooting good percentage. So I like Caruso's floor better than all those guys.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I pulled it up here, the exact numbers. If you guys are interested, Kobe White has 22.1% usage, 0.94 TK points per minute. That was also, a lot of those minutes came from when Caruso was out, so he was starting point guard. Right now, they project Caruso to start at the point guard spot. I'm not sure who they would give Levine's spot to. I'm assuming it would be White, but I'm not 100% sure. And then AO or IO is 15.1%. So if you're just looking at straight up usage rates, the usage rates are telling you to play Kobe White out of these two.
Yeah, I agree. I just think I think Kobe's a better DFS producer. If you just told me to pick one, I think I'd choose Kobe on there.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. So next question here. If Bog is out for Atlanta, is anyone there under 5K you're looking at? Maybe Fournier with no Randall. If you like Fournier with no Randall, I feel like that's probably your safest option if you're looking for a forward under 5 that's not Toppin. I feel like he's probably your safest. If Bog is out, Bog's out, maybe DeAndre Hunter, but again, I would. Much. Yeah, he doesn't do much. I mean, if we're looking there and you need someone under 5, you want to play it safe, I'd go Fournier. If not, if you're going high risk, I mean, we always say trust the model, so maybe Barton or something. But if it's me, I'm going Fournier.
Yeah, I agree. I think Fournier is the safest cash play. In GPPs, you can look at a Barton just because his floor isn't. Well, he used to be good. It's not anymore. Got a lower floor, but he's got a really high ceiling if he hits a shot. So, GPP, Barden, and then Cash Fournier.
Got it. So then we have Elfeinstein in the chat. Few things better in daily fantasy than a midweek stream with Jayhawk between college classes. Not the writer you want, but the writer you need. You got some love right there.
Yeah.
Then Nigel says, any love for Grayson Allen? This cheap price with Chris out. So we were actually talking about this before the stream. So Nick, you want to dive into this one?
Sorry, say that again. I lost you. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. Any love for Grayson Allen?
Oh, I know the model likes him, but I'm not really on Grayson Allen today. He's another player that's kind of shooting reliant, and I just can't. Like, if he shoots 7 for 10, so be it. But like, I don't know. I played that dude before, and I was like, why did I even play this dude? I don't know. I've never liked him anyways from Duke. But I mean, he's fine. The model likes him. He's a fine play. I think I'd rather go to Caruso for 100 more on both sides.
I think it depends on the type of lineup you're building tonight. For example, if you're doing like a stars and scrubs and you want to fit in a Giannis and a Holiday and a DeRozan, assuming Levine is out, have to fit in Grayson Allen to make that work. Great, we don't mind it at all. But if you're just doing like a mid-range thing where you don't need to reach down, there's a lot more cheap options we like over him. All right. So we did your favorite stud play. My favorite stud play is also going to be Giannis, obviously, with Middleton out. I will say that DeMar is probably going to be like a 1B to Giannis's 1A if Levine's out, though.
Yeah, can we go into I know a lot of people are going to ask questions about Jokic because we haven't mentioned him yet. I kind of wanted to go through that because I kind of have a stand tonight, so I didn't know if you wanted to go through that.
You got the floor.
All right, perfect. So obviously Jokic is on the slate, so people are going to play him, and I mean, by all means, they should. But so here's the deal. So Jokic, he gets a great matchup against the Clippers, but I think I like Vucevic better on both sides. I mean, particularly on FanDuel at 6'9", especially if you get Levine out. It's not a terrific matchup against Milwaukee, but you know there's going to be a lot of shots going his way. And if you just get, I don't know, 45, even like if you got a 50 burger out of him at that price, you're just running and jumping and joy. Because I know Jokic is going to be popular, but if you take up almost 12K in your lineup and he goes for a floor game, which I've seen it happen before against the Clippers, you're going to be just so happy you didn't play him. Because I guarantee everyone's going to play him. And I don't know. I love going Vooch, and I love this game. Chicago, Milwaukee, highest over/under on the slate. Both injuries on both sides. Like, what else can you ask for on a 4-game slate? Like, why not stack it up to the early game, get to the top of leaderboards, and maybe throw on, I don't know, Aaron Gordon or Will Barton and hope you get a little bit more usage than Jokic.
Yeah, so, no, I agree with that 100%. I know the Clippers kind of shut down the big man spot pretty well. And especially on these small slates, we'll talk about it more later. But these small 4-game slates, if you pick 1 or 2 games and stack them, I mean, that's how one of these games ends up being actually like over 240 points. Let's say, and the best game realistically to do that is probably Chicago and Milwaukee right now. If that game ends up over 240, there's going to be a total like 5 guys in this game that are probably 6 times value or more.
100%. And there's I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's a pretty good shot at the Nuggets game blows out. I don't think the Clippers are that good. So, I mean, if Jokic only plays 3 quarters at that price, and if they forcefully shut him down, I don't know. I mean, if he burns me, he burns me. But, I mean, I just think this Bulls game, I think it's going to be a really good DFS game and a real good real-life game to stack up. So, that's just kind of how I approached it, seeing the injuries and seeing there's more usage with these guys. And on top of that, you're going to be different by not playing Jokic. And it's how you get to the top of the leaderboards and these smaller slates. Let's run it. I mean, I love it.
Yeah, no, so I'm looking at it here. It looks like on both websites, you could save almost 5,000 salary by playing Vooch over Jokic, which is insane because Vooch is normally probably what? Low 8s to high 8s probably.
Yeah, and he's like below 7K, so it's crazy.
Yeah, on FanDuel, he's 6'9" tonight, which is a lot less than what we're used to seeing him at. Especially if Levine's out, he's going to have to shoot more. His usage rate obviously goes up, as we saw before. It was 28.5%. So especially if Levine's out, we're definitely stacking this game.
100%.
So let's see. Ella Feinstein has a question in here. Favorite value other than Bucks guys on FanDuel? I'm gonna say Toppin. Do you have somebody different than that, or is that?
I think we already went through it. Caruso, Toppin, Fournier. We said got Burks at 5'2", mid fives on both sides. I think all of those New York guys. Barrett in the mid tier is not really valued, but he's arguably the top player on the slate as well. We didn't mention him without Randall. So I mean, yeah, I think you're just going these Knicks guys, and then maybe like a Caruso or what you said, a Fournier, or one of those guys. So.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the Knicks guys, I have also their usage rates all lined up in their current situation. I can run through these real quick if that helped you guys figure out which Knicks guys you want in your lineup. So it looks like we have Burks. So this is without Randall, without Walker, without Reddish. So it looks like obviously RJ Barrett's going to lead it, 33.7% usage, only 1.1 fantasy points per minute, but obviously you can't ignore that usage rate. Burks, it looks like he has the same fantasy points per minute as RJ, but he is 23.6% usage. And then we look at Fournier, who is 21.1% usage. He's only actually 0.66 fantasy points per minute, so it's pretty low for Fournier. So he might be a guy that we avoid in high risk because of that. Low risk, I think he's fine still. High risk, I don't see his ceiling being that high with that, only 0.66. And then I'm missing anybody important here. Obi Toppin, right. So 19.8% usage and almost 0.9 fantasy points per minute, which is more than enough for his current price tag.
Yep, I agree.
So perfect. As I was just kind of rattling that off, let's see if I missed anything else here. Can you play Giannis and Drew together? Nick kind of already went over this. We said with Middleton being out, there's enough usage rate to go around where we can definitely kind of squeeze in Holiday and Giannis if you're able to. Oh no, go ahead.
I think you build around those guys, especially if you're fading Jokic, which I am. Just I don't know. I don't think there's any news that would take away from those guys crushing the prices. I mean, on DK, I think Holiday is 7'8", so he's got to get 38 fantasy points with no Middleton, so that should be easy payoff.
Yeah. I mean, Holiday's price, it looks like 7.8 on DraftKings and 8.1 on FanDuel, so he's a little low. I remember when Middleton was out, it was last year for a little bit of time. Holiday saw, I think it was almost like 9.5 at some point, kind of staying around 9.5 last year. So we can definitely get him a discount here. Let's see. Any thoughts on Jericho Sims? I don't see him playing too much, even with Randall out. I know Sims kind of backs up. He kind of backs up Robinson. So unless Robinson gets in foul trouble, I really don't see Sims seeing too much of an increase in minutes.
He'll play like
I'd kind of
15 minutes. 15.
Yeah, I don't see him seeing much more than what he normally does in this situation. It would be different if it was Mitchell Robinson out, but for now we're kind of avoiding that. So I don't see any more questions here. So I'm going to move on to my next question for you, Nick. So we talked a lot about value guys. I think we have Caruso, Obi. We talked about Grayson Allen. Could you give me your favorite value of the night? If you can only pick one to play, who would it be?
I think it's got to be Obi Toppin. I absolutely love him tonight at 3.7, 3.2. He was very hyped up coming out of college at I don't know. He's hyped up out of college, and I think he's a great player. He needs to get the minutes to show off what he has. So he's gonna get him without Randall tonight, and he should demolish his price tag on both sides. So that's my number one value play. And what else are you gonna say?
Oh, no, that was my question.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I mean, my top would probably be Toppin as well. Of course, if Levine's out, it might change to Caruso. But as of right now,
1A, 1B, I think. Yeah, 1A, 1B.
Yeah, kind of the same situation as Giannis and DeMar. So we have a good question here from Jacob. When Curry was out against the Spurs, everyone loaded up on Clay and Poole. Game total is horrible tonight. The usage is still there. What are your thoughts, Nick? And then I have it up on my screen here, like the usage rates and the points per minute, so I can go into it after you go through it.
Yeah, so I thought the same thing with Clay. We've seen in like years and years from the past when you can take stuff off the court, Clay, the old Clay at least would absolutely crush. But I think he's still getting in the hang of things coming off that injury. So I mean, I think he's fine. Definitely not a lock. In GPPs, he's a fine play. That's all I'd look there. I think he's priced up now to like about where he should be. And I mean, he can obviously pop off for, I don't know, 50 burger. We've seen it before. He's not someone you want to like plug in immediately. Last piece, if you fall on him, perfect plan, but like not a priority to me.
Okay, no, perfect. So I have the usage rates up here. So it looks like Jordan Poole is 30.6% usage rate with 1.1 fantasy points per minute. Then we have Klay Thompson, 29.7 usage rate with 1.16 fantasy points per minute. So none of those fantasy points per minute are really enough to like turn your head, because I think they're both between 7 and 8,000 on both websites. I do like Poole more than I like Thompson. I feel like before, when Curry was out, Clay kind of handled the point guard roles as well, which is why he used to play so much better than he is now. He was still kind of just being a shooting guard last game, where we saw he scored 24 points, but he had 0 assists, 3 rebounds, like 30 fantasy points, at least on FanDuel.
He's legit a shooting guard.
Yeah,
Literally
that's all he is. Yeah, that's literally all he is. Before, he used to take over for Curry, kind of just try to be point guard, but now I don't know if it's because they have Poole. I don't know if it's because he was injured so many times and doesn't want to take over that role.
I think it's both. Probably, I agree.
I think it is, yeah. So, I mean, if I had a pick, I'd definitely go Poole over Clay. I think Poole's price is probably still a little bit low compared to what it should be. Clay, especially on DK, I'm avoiding that.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch Clay on either side, and then Poole is a fine tourney flyer. So.
Perfect. So then we have Honey Badger asked a good question here. Upton late, who's your favorite center for large field GPP? Nick, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. Do you want to reiterate that?
Yeah, so low risk, we know it's going to be Jokic. Everyone's going to play Jokic. High risk, it's Vucevic, sorry. Vucevic, it's some, I don't know how to say it. Vucevic, I think. But yeah, so he's my favorite high risk play on that center. So I'll say Vucevic there.
Okay, perfect. Then we have quickly, it might be a lower owned Nick. Yeah, he'll definitely be lower owned than the starters. Normally people off the bench are. I'm not heavily on him tonight. I mean, I could definitely see him in like a higher risk GPP lineup, or if you're 150ing, if you want to give him like 6 to 8% exposure. I mean, I could definitely see that, but it's not something I'm throwing into like a single entry or like a free entry or something.
Yeah, I like Berg's better there. I think quickly is a good GPP play though. I think he is. We've seen his coach started to give him some more minutes now, and you have no Randall, so I like him off the bench.
And then we have Jacob saying, it looks like Clay is 8-1 on DK. Poole's a little bit pricey too. He thinks the Holiday is a better play than both. You think Holiday or Poole if you had to pick one?
Holiday by a bunch, not even close.
Okay, perfect. I mean, I do like Poole, especially because, as we said, most people aren't going to be on him tonight just because both him and Clay both kind of goose egg. Not goose egg, but you know what I mean. Didn't put up 5 times value. And all the injuries tonight kind of push people towards other players. You could fit both of them in there. I definitely like that if you kind of do a stars and stripes approach. So speaking of stars and stripes, I'm going to say, Nick, how are we building tonight? Are we doing stars and stripes? Are we doing mid-range? What are we looking at?
Wait, did you just say stars and stripes? Is that the new
name? Is that what I just said?
You said it like
we could start calling it that.
Hey,
we could start calling it that. I'm just patriotic, USA, that's all.
Nah, I know.
I'm just patriotic. I got America on my mind.
I love it. Nah, I mean, building wise, I'm saying it's gonna be a little bit more mid tier after Giannis, because you got DeRozan, Vooch, Holiday, Barrett. I think it's pretty mid tier tonight for me. Unless you want to go Giannis and Jokic, then you're really gonna have to go Stars and Scrubs, or Stars and Stripes, I guess we're calling it. But personally, I'm going the mid tier with this Chicago Milwaukee game, including Giannis. But with the additions of Caruso on top end. But yeah, I mean, pretty mid tier overall.
Yeah, no, I agree. My main priority here is to plug in Giannis. Obviously, if we have Levine out, I like DeRozan a lot. However, his price fell a decent amount. What was before? I know before it was
9K. It was like
9 or 10, especially on FanDuel. He hit 10 some days, and now he's only 7-8 on FanDuel. So I mean, I would even call him like a higher mid-range option. So I definitely, after you plug Giannis in, you can get, I don't know, 2 or 3 values in there. You can definitely plug in the Holidays and the Barretts and the DeRozans of the world.
Yep.
So then we have Kobe White and GPP. We kind of touched on a little bit. I don't mind him if he starts, but I'm not sure who's going to start for Levine if he's out. I mean, it could be Ayo. It could be
Ayo. They love Ayo too, so they'll probably start Ayo and pull White off the bench for scoring coming off the bench.
That's what I believe. And then a decent play 4-7 or under on DK. I can pull that up here.
I mean, besides top and I don't know who else you said, but
so we have Caruso. We talked about a lot. We have Toppin. We talked about a lot. Model loves Grayson Allen tonight. He is a little bit higher risk because he's shooting dependent. But if you're going like a GPP or I guess like a 3 entry even max, I would definitely consider Allen. So I don't see any more questions in the chat right now. I know I got a text from you at like 1:00 Eastern time, and you're like, I have the edge for this slate, and you wouldn't tell me it until we went to the stream. I think we're gonna end it on the edge. If you wanna give us what you were thinking.
Yeah, I saw Daddy Mufasa in the Twitter comment section say, I'm gonna call your bull take. So here it is. Fade Jokic in single entry and game stack on all the money. And then come out here tonight. Post your screenshots of your winnings, and we're gonna I'm gonna break my losing streak of DFS for the last 2 days and chip everything tonight. So.
Oh, perfect! You heard it here first. So if Daddy Mufasa's in this call right now, we'll see what he tweets later. We'll see if it's
Jokic going for 100 fantasy points tonight. I said that. So.
But all right, so last question here, Jacob. Assuming Levine is in, or the Bulls a fade. I still think Caruso could be a value as long as he sees a start like he did last game. But I would probably fade DeRozan. Vooch is still a little bit cheap on FanDuel. I would consider him still.
I still like Vooch.
Same thinking?
I still like Vooch either way. Just to get different. I think DeRozan takes a hit, but we know Milwaukee gets torched by scores. So if Levine played, I think Levine was playing. I think Levine's a great play too. On both sides, because we've seen him like shooters on the perimeter torch them. So yeah, just keep in mind. I don't think he plays though. So if he plays, just shoot me a DM and I can break down, or not just tag me in Discord and I can break down what I think after that.
That's perfect. So it looks like it's 5:15. So we're gonna get on up out of here. Sorry, little tongue twister there. So I'm at tboyle _ or at tboyle24 _ DFS. My apologies. With me is DFS Jayhawk. So if you guys have any questions before lock, obviously just ask them in the Discord, tag us, and we'll help you out.
Sir, good luck tonight, everyone.